Hi everyone, it's Donna from Not Spaceman Papercrafts. Thank you all for joining me today on this guide collaboration card hop. Thank you all also to my new subscribers. You are all so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I just want to tell you a little bit about this hop before we get making our card. This hop includes myself and another 25 YouTubers who are all taking part, and we're all bringing you masculine themed cards. Now, whether that be for birthdays or Father's Day, or masculine cards are quite hard really. Ideas are quite hard to find for masculine cards, I find anyway. So we decided to all come together and to create some masculine card ideas for you. Now, all of these cards have we have shown each other all of our card designs. We just wanted to make sure that we could bring you guys individual designs rather than have them duplicated. You've probably heard in all the other videos, but I'm going to just let you know, this hop includes a competition. Now, there are 3 prizes and the prizes are fabulous. I have had a sneaky peek at the prizes and you will not be disappointed. And as there are 26 of us, we decided that we would do a game. Now, this game is called In My Daddy's Toolbox. Now, we've each been given a letter of the alphabet and every one of us has come up with a tool that you would find in a toolbox. So what you would do is you would get your piece of paper, and the best thing to do is probably write from A to Z, and then every video that you watch you need to write the giveaway word in there. And then on the last day, our lovely Gareth has the last video of our masculine card series hop. He will have all the information in his description bar that will tell you what to do with all your 26 words. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going to slot my word in yet, and we'll see as we go. So we're going to make a version of this card today. We actually hand fold this tie and we make the tie ourselves, and I'm going to do it on a bigger sheet. Now, this is an A2 card base. Now, if you were going to do it on an A2 card base, all you would need to do would be to do your first layer, if you wanted it, 1/8 of an inch smaller, and then your shirt would be 1/8 of an inch smaller than that, and your tie will be 4x4 piece of paper, and I'll show you how to make the tie. So this was the A2 size card that I did. I'm going to do a bigger card this time, and I'm going to use a 5x7 card. Okay, so here's my card base. So I've cut my layers. This one is 4 6/8 by 6 6/8, and then the shirt portion is going to be 4 by 6 to give it a bigger border, and then my tie piece is 4 by 4. You're also going to need, if you want to practice, you're going to need some scraps to practice your tie fold. It's not difficult, but it can be quite tricky to get the fold, so I'll show you on the practice first before we do it on our designer series paper. Okay, so I am going to stick my layers down on my first layer. Just using some wet glue. It doesn't really matter what glue you use as long as it's something that's going to keep your layer in place. I'm so glad that I've actually been asked to do this collaboration. The YouTubers that I watch, a lot of them are taking part in this collaboration, and I am really lucky because they are a huge inspiration to me, and to be working alongside them doing this hop is brilliant. I'm really pleased. Okay, so that is the first bit done. So we've got our layer done, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our scoreboard with our shirt piece with our long side at the top. Now, based on my measurements of a 5x7 card, as I said, this piece is 6 inches by 4 inches. So on the 6-inch piece, on the long side, you're just going to score at 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so 5/8 of an inch is the one after the half, and then just to help those fibres break down without creasing or cracking the paper, I like to do it on the other side as well. I did actually forget to mention that for your shirt portion you are going to need some double-sided paper, because you would need the bottom layer to become the collar, so you need some pattern on there as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut in 1 inch. Now you can use your paper trimmer if you wanted to use your paper trimmer. Mine actually measures in centimetres on the cutting bar, so that would be 2.5 centimetres in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a ruler, and I'm just going to mark my inch and then cut it. It just saves getting the trimmer out. Okay, so I'm just going to mark in 1 inch and then 1 inch from that side, and then I'm just going to get my scissors and I'm just going to cut in up to that inch on both sides. Okay, and then these will fold in and form our collar. So we need to find a centre point really to do this, so I'm using this line here as my centre point, and I'm going to fold in so this corner of the collar comes in alignment with the centre point, and I'm going to crease that down, and then you're going to do exactly the same with this one. So you're going to bring that as close to the centre point as you can get it and crease it down. So that's, in effect, that's our shirt portion done. Okay, so now we come on to our tie, and I'm going to show you how to do this on some scrap paper first before we do it on our designer series paper. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is take your 4x4 piece and fold it diagonally corner to corner on one side, and it will help if you've got a bone folder when you do this, because you do need to get those creases nice and crisp. Okay, then you open it up. Now from this point here and this point here, you want this point to be along this score line. Okay, so you fold it over so you've got that side along the score line, and fold that up so it's like this, and then you repeat the process on the opposite side. So then you have this sort of shape. Okay, then you take this point at the very top and you fold it down. Now you can fold it down really wherever you want. I do it so it's roughly folded about 3/4 of the way, and then crease that down as well. Okay, so you end up with a shape that looks like this. Then this point gets folded the opposite way to this point. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to burnish that down as well. And now we're going to take the whole thing and fold it back on itself, so approximately half of it is over the top. I'll burnish that down and I'll show you what I mean. So you end up with a shape like this. So that's how we went, and then we folded this section over to create this sort of shape. Okay, then from this point we're going to flip it over and we're going to take this side and bring it into the middle. Okay, and then we're going to crease it, and again we're going to repeat the process on the other side. Now I'm using cardstock for this, so it's a little bit stiff, so it just depends on what you use. And then when you flip it back over you have your tie shape, and you can, if you want to, pop adhesive in there and stick it all down if you'd like to do that. So now let's do it on our 4x4 piece of designer series paper. So this is the pattern that I want on the top. So this is where I'm going to start my fold. This is going to be the side that you don't see. Okay, so I'm going to fold corner to corner on a diagonal and give that a good burnish down, and then open it up, and then we're going to fold this section into the middle along that middle score line, and then you're going to do the same on the other side. And you're just going to burnish those down. And then flip it over so you've got this shape. Okay, so then we're going to fold down again, as I say, about a quarter of the way down. So we'll fold that down, and again we're going to give that a burnish, and then we're going to take this point and bring it to the middle score line again, and then burnish that down. So again we're left with this sort of shape. Okay, and then we're going to take the whole section and fold it over so that roughly half of that panel is folded over and sticking out at the top, and burnish that. So you end up with this. Okay, and then you flip the whole thing over, and then you bring this side of our tie into the score line, the centre score. So you fold that over, give a really good burnish down, and then do the same to the other side. Now at this point, because there are quite a few layers of paper, it is going to get a bit stiff, but as long as you keep burnishing all the way, you'll be fine. Okay, and there is our tie. And what I'm going to do is I am going to stick mine down a little bit. I'm just going to pop some Tombow in there just to stick that down. So there's our tie. Now then, what we need to do is we need to bring in our card base and our shirt, and I'm going to stick this down so it's roughly in the centre. So I'm just going to get my Tombow back out again, and I'm just going to glue that panel down. There we go. And then before we do anything else, I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the shirt down here. So I'm just going to be using some VersaFine and just a happy birthday sentiment that I've got. So that's there. And then we're going to attach our tie. Now, because our tie with all the paper folds is quite raised from the paper, what we're going to do is we're going to pop some foam tape on the inside of the shirt collar. So I've got a couple of pieces that I have cut already. I'm just going to peel off here, and we're just going to put that in probably about 3/4 of the way into the fold. You can see there. I'll do the same on this side, and then we're going to take those pieces off, and then we're going to pop some glue on our tie. So we'll just pop some glue on our tie. And I find it better to hold the paper actually this way, the card this way. I find it easier to line up there. So we're going to line the top of the tie up with the score line. Okay, now I'm just going to turn it around and make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to put a little bit of wet glue just on the ends here so it will stick to the front of our tie. And then these little bits here will wedge in there, so they will stick down. And just hold that for a few minutes while it dries. So there you go, there's our shirt and tie masculine themed card. Now, as I say, you could do this in a smaller version, which is the A2 size. But just remember, whatever size card base you use, just take your measurements down by 1/8. The tie size will always be the same. It will be 4 by 4. So you just take 1/8 off for every measurement. If you don't want the layer, you can just put the shirt straight on the tie as well. So, right. So thank you so much for joining me today on this masculine card collaboration hop. And I'm sure you're all dying to know what my giveaway word is. I got N. So my giveaway word is nails. So thank you all very much for joining me today. Please don't forget to check out the rest of the videos to get your giveaway words and make a note of all of those. And I'm sharing today with Craft Test Dummies, so I will leave their page up in there somewhere, so you can pop on and check out their video for the same day. So thank you so much guys for watching, and good luck on the giveaway. Bye.